Good morning. It's a beautiful Friday, a little bit chilly here in Godfrey, and we're hoping for nice weather for Easter, and it looks like it might happen. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about Good Friday because I've learned some things this week that have been interesting. TLC, which is Renee's church, has a video devo that they put out Monday through Friday. And if you want, you can subscribe to it. It's tlc.org video devos. And I watch them. And if you would like to join there, you can, and you can watch them. They send them to you every day. You don't have to watch them, but they are really good. And I have learned a lot of new things, a lot of interesting things this week. One of the stories I heard this week is one that I remember, but haven't really thought about for a long time. And I told Tim about it, and Tim was like, I've never heard that story about Jesus. And so I want to take you back to last night, which was Maundy Thursday, when Jesus and his disciples were meeting in the upper room for the Last Supper. And he met with all of his disciples, and this is where Judas betrayed him. And he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. And he asks his disciples to sit around and pray with him. And he goes off by himself to pray. And when he comes back, they're asleep. And he's like, I ask you just to pray with me, but you got to think about this. The disciples were exhausted, and Jesus was exhausted. It had been an exhausting week of going around and talking about Jesus. He'd come in on Palm Sunday, and there was a lot of unrest, and there was a lot of, when you're stressed, you get tired. And so the disciples just kept falling asleep. And Jesus kept saying to them, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And I do think that Jesus struggled with the human side of him at that point, because he even asked God, if there's a way that you can take this cup away from me, please do it. And the Lord says, no, this is the only way to save people from their sin. And so Jesus accepts it, but he does say, spirit's willing, but my flesh is weak. And so eventually the Pharisees show up with the Roman centurions to arrest Jesus. And Jesus says, you come with these manacles to take me away. And he says, you don't need those. I will go. I will go. I don't need to. Well, Peter, one of the disciples, is infuriated. And he's like, no, you're not taking my Lord. And he takes out his sword and lops off the ear of one of the servants of the high priest. And Jesus says, Peter, put away your sword. And he picks up the ear and puts it back on and heals the man. And he says, Peter, I know you mean well, but you cannot stop what is the Lord's will. And it is the Lord's will that I go away, that I go and be crucified for you. I am memorizing this section of Isaiah 55, and I have told you this before, and I find it cool that the part that I have been memorizing lately is this part. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my thoughts than your thoughts, and my ways than your ways. For as the rain and snow come down from heaven, and do not return there without watering the earth, and making it bear and sprout, and furnishing seed to the sower, and bread to the eater, so shall my word be which goes forth from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, without accomplishing what I desire, and without succeeding in the matter for which I sent it. So the Lord's word comes, he sends it out, and it comes back and it does what it's supposed to do. We think that we have to take out our sword and we have to fight and try to do what's right. And sometimes Jesus says, put your sword away. I've already won that battle. I got a different way here. Trust me, follow me. So I've been fighting a lot of battles that sometimes I think maybe the Lord's calling me to put down my sword and to let him do it his way. Sometimes I want to do it my way, and I think that I've got the best way. So today, as we think about Jesus' death on the cross and how he has come to save us, we recognize his humanity, that he was nervous and worried, but he knew it was the right thing, and he chose the right thing. What God had called him to do, he did. So sometimes we think we know the right things, but we need to trust, put away our swords, and follow Jesus. Have a fabulous Friday.